Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Christy and I hope you guys are all having a really good day. So today we're going to talk about Nicola Bulley. They had a presser today and confirmed that it was her that they found in the water yesterday. So I'm going to play the presser for you real quick. It's maybe 4 minutes long. Very quick.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sadly, we are now able to confirm that yesterday we recovered Nicola Bulley from the River Wyre. Nicola's family have been informed and are of course devastated. Our thoughts are with them at this time, as well as with all her loved ones and the wider community. We recognise the huge impact that Nicola's disappearance has had on her family and friends, but also on the people of St Michael's. We would like to thank all of those who have helped during what has been a hugely complex and highly emotional investigation. Today's development is not the outcome any of us would have wanted, but we hope that at least it can begin to provide some answers for Nicola's loved ones. They remain foremost in our thoughts. The case is now being handled by His Majesty's Coroner. The family have asked that we read a statement on their behalf. I'll now hand over to Detective Chief Superintendent Pauline Stables to do that.
Nicola's family have asked that we release the following statement on their behalf as follows. Our family liaison officers have had to confirm our worst fears today. We will never be able to comprehend what Nikki had gone through in her last moments, and that will never leave us. We will never forget Nikki. How could we? She was the centre of our world. She was the one who made our lives so special, and nothing will cast a shadow over that. Our girls will get the support they need from the people who love them the most. And it saddens us to think that one day we will have to explain to them that the press and members of the public accuse their dad of wrongdoing, misquoted and vilified friends and family. This is absolutely appalling. They have to be held accountable. This cannot happen to another family. We tried last night to take in what we had been told in the day, only to have Sky News and ITV making contact with us directly when we expressly asked for privacy. They again have taken it upon themselves to run stories about us, to sell papers and increase their own profits. It is shameful they have acted in this way. Leave us alone now. Do the press and other media channels and so-called professionals not know when to stop? These are our lives and our children's lives. To those who genuinely helped and supported us privately, we thank you. The community support in St Michael's, friends, neighbours and strangers has been nothing short of comforting and heartwarming. Friends, you know who you are, thank you. Our hearts truly break for others who have missing loved ones. Keep that hope alive. Finally, Nikki, you are no longer a missing person. You have been found. We can let you rest now. We love you, always have and always will. We will take it from here.
All right, so very to the point. I know that they want us to leave them alone, but I still have a lot of questions. I've got my Mims, one of my Mims shirts on today. Kind of see the glitter's not showing up very good on the camera. What is Mims? Make it make sense. Because nothing about this is making a whole lot of sense to me right now. I'm thrilled that they found her. I mean, not knowing it has to be an awful feeling for the family, and at least now, even though it's not the outcome we would have hoped for, at least they know, right? And whether this was an accident or she did it intentionally or there was something more nefarious at play here, it is a tragedy. And my questions just surround her being found where she was found. Something about it feels off to me. So I'm gonna show you some pictures and just kind of talk about it and see where you're at with it. Now, obviously, I am in Oklahoma. I'm not in the UK. I know nothing about this particular river. My idea of a river is something completely different. To me, that looks more like what I would call a creek, at least in that area, because it's not very wide, it's not very deep. So, I could be way off base here, but I'm surrounded by water. The part of Oklahoma I live in, there's so much water. Lakes, rivers, streams, creeks, what have you. And I have some questions, and even my husband has questions. We've been talking about it. So I thought I would bring it to y'all and see where you're at with everything. So this is a map showing basically where the bench is and then where she was found. From what I understand, it's roughly a mile downstream from where Willow and her phone were found. But there's a lot of turns, and I don't know. The water there, it doesn't move quickly, right? And that's a lot of turning and to make your way down there. And I understand one of my viewers had messaged me and said that she had the same gilet type vest that she was wearing, that Nicola was wearing when she went missing, and it is full of down feathers, and that gets heavy if it's wet. So if she, fell into the water and that got waterlogged, that would have weighed her down. Absolutely, for sure. And I get that. That, that could have weighed her down to prevent her from floating, maybe a little bit longer than what the norm would be. But even with that, 23 days and roughly 1 mile, this area was searched by police, by the professional dive team of Peter Falding. People have been walking all along there, and nothing for 23 days. Nothing. It's hard to wrap my mind around. Nothing, I guess, is out of the realm of possibility, but it just still feels off to me somehow. Now, I'm not going to jump on to, some of the conspiracy theories that I've seen out there. There's people are talking about there's a 23 on the back of the bench, and it's 2023, and she was found on the 23rd day of the search. And is there a connection? I don't know. Interesting for sure, but does it mean anything? Probably not. Paul is taking a lot of scrutiny. Her partner Paul. There was a story, post, whatever you want to call it, in one of the Facebook groups, and somebody said that they had witnessed Paul the night before Nicola was found in that area with the dog and one of his daughters carrying a couple of big bags, and it was like 10:30 at night, and it's kind of a derelict type area, right? Like, not a lot of people would be in the area. I don't think it's, super well lit or anything like that. But they said they saw him, and they called the police, and they told them about it. And my thinking on that is, if it was Paul, and we're to think that that was Nicola, right, in the bags, why would he bring his daughter with him? I can't imagine that. But there's a lot out there. There's a lot out there, and there's a lot of people that still really feel like Paul is involved. I still feel like there could be some third party involvement. I'm not gonna, I have no idea who it was, but there's things about this particular location where she was found that I find interesting, that if there was, another person involved, this would be a good spot to put her. So let's take a look here. So this is the area where she was found, and you can see she was found up in these reeds, and that makes sense to me. What doesn't make sense to me is they've searched this area, and now they're coming out with like, oh, well, we didn't search the reeds. Why wouldn't you search the reeds? To me, that would be the most logical place to be searching, because when they were moving the search down, like towards the sea, they were talking about inlets and marshlands and things like that. And to me, if I'm searching for somebody that is likely in the water, my first thoughts are any kind of like undergrowth in the water, vegetation. If it's deep enough, sometimes you even have like legit trees in the water. And if somebody gets hung up in that, or even hung up in like rocks, for instance, it can hold them down, and they won't float because they're tangled up. So you would want to make sure that divers are checking anything like that where you suspect the person to be. You would want to go in there and as thoroughly as you can find out if a person is possibly hung up somewhere. And the same goes for the reeds and growth along the sides of the water, because if a person floats up into that and gets tangled up, and it could provide, some coverage. It looks like it's pretty tall. Why wouldn't you wade through there? Kind of like when you're doing a ground search. If you come across like tall brush, you're going to go through there and kind of move stuff around and see if anything's there. Why wouldn't you do that here? And this picture really just did it for me. So this is where she was found, and it's so narrow there, right? It's so narrow there, and they searched there, the police and Peter Falding. You're telling me that she was there in those reeds, and they go through and they don't see her. Now, Peter Falding, he's relying on the fact that he was using sonar and it wouldn't have picked it up in the reeds. Like, his side sonar wouldn't have picked her up in the reeds or whatever. Fine. But somebody walking their dog who wasn't in the water saw her. But when you're in the water at the level that she is, you saw nothing. It just seems so weird to me. And look at this. So this picture shows where she was found on the left, and then that's Peter Falding in his boat on the right, searching that area. This gives you such a good idea of how narrow it is, because look at his boat. There's not a lot of room on either side from the boat to the reeds. So you're going through here in your boat, and it's that close, and you saw nothing. And from what I understand, this is a very shallow area, like ankle, knee deep, maybe. Not deep at all. So just trying to think that over the course of 23 days, she traveled a mile down the river. Every day we have people out there. We've had helicopters, we've had drones, we've had boats, divers, people walking, you name it. Nothing. And then magically yesterday, people walking their dog find her. It just, I don't know. Like I said, it's possible, but this is my other that I can't get out of my head. So if you see, and circled in red is the area of the river where she was found, and there's the road right there. And apparently there is like a pull off area where you can park, and it's right near the river. And they say that where she was found is the closest that the river comes to the road. And I think there is a small brick wall that you might have to go, not like climb over, but that you could step over and get to the water. So, and we're going to speculate here, if somebody did something to Nicola and they wanted to wait until this area had been searched and cleared and then possibly put her there, that would be the ideal spot to do it, in my opinion. Because you could park there, like I said, it's dark, it's kind of a derelict area, not really anything there. It would be the ideal spot for somebody to go at night in the cover of darkness and simply move her from their vehicle to the water. And since she was in the reeds, it's not like they would have to really like throw her out into the water. They would just, they kind of just place her out there in the reeds, right? So I don't know. And in the presser, they said that, it's being handled by the coroner now. And they didn't really say that, the investigation was continuing. I assume it will be, because the autopsy should tell them a lot of information that would be useful. I don't know how it works in the UK. If some of you could let me know. Here, a lot of times in a high profile case, when the autopsy's done, we get the results. I would really be interested to know, did she have water in her lungs? Did it look like she had fallen and hit her head? Or was there any kind of trauma to the body that somebody else could have been involved, kind of thing? I'm sure since they brought up the menopause and alcohol issues that they'll do toxicology to see if there was anything maybe in her system. But I mean, I can see, especially with me, having seizures and things. I was talking to my husband and I'm like, I could see we have a lake right outside the house. And I was, if I went for a walk and I had a seizure, maybe I fell and hit my head or something like that, fell in the water, and I'm unconscious and I drown. I mean, it's absolutely possible that she could have lost her balance, she could have tripped and fell, any number of ways she could have ended up in the water, and maybe she hit her head either really hard on the ground or on a rock or something, and that's why she drowned. Because I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's too shallow to drown. Well, no, if you have kids, kids can drown in like an inch of water. That's why you have to be so careful with them when they're babies. So if she was unconscious, yeah, she absolutely could have went in the water. I don't care how strong of a swimmer you are. If you're unconscious, it's not going to help you. So could she have accidentally ended up in the river and drowned? Absolutely. And in a situation like that, it's not going to involve, being pulled under or swept away uncontrollably. If she, for some reason, was unconscious when she went into the water, then, that makes sense to me. But the fact that she was found a mile away 23 days later is still hard for me to wrap my mind around. I mean, if she's weighed down by the down in her vest, what have you, and that kept her from floating, I don't know, guys. I don't know. And then, a lot of people still think she did this to herself. I mean, I guess that's possible as well. I don't know. I wish I knew more about the welfare check that happened before this incident happened. What that was about. The only people that really know what her state of mind was is her family. Regardless, like I said, if it was an accident, if she did it on purpose, if it was a third party, it is still absolutely tragic. My heart is breaking for her little girls. Regardless of how this happened, they're never going to have their mom back, and that's just, it's very sad. So my thoughts and prayers are with her family, with her friends, and I hope somehow, some way, they can find some peace. But I want them to have the real answers of what happened. That's why I hope they continue to investigate, because, the police weren't looking so good, right? I mean, they took a lot of heat after releasing the details about her, which I think, like I said, it's kind of important to know, because going through menopause, and she had been on hormone replacement and then quit taking them, and that can all have an effect on your mental status and how you're feeling about yourself and life in general. And so, yeah, it was important. But if this was a guy, they never would have been like, oh, he's got erectile dysfunction and he's been drinking a lot. I don't think they ever would have come out and said that. But I do hope they keep investigating, because I don't want the police to just say, oh, it was accident, suicide, whatever, just to kind of cover themselves, and so they can say, oh, see, I was right. She was in the water and no foul play. If there was foul play involved, if there was a third party involved somehow, her family deserves to have that answer, and Nicola deserves to have justice for what happened to her. Steve agrees, by the way. Or he's yelling, subscribe, subscribe. So that's really all I had to say about it. I'm not going to stay on here super long and speculate, but I just find the whole thing very sad. I was really hoping that, if she was struggling, emotionally, that maybe she just needed a break and went away and would come back. I mean, I always try really hard to be optimistic, and sometimes it pays off, like in the Rachel Schwartz case, but I never want to look at the darkest outcome right off the bat, even though that's how most of them end up. So I'm very sad that this is how it ended. And like I said, I'm thinking of her family, keeping them in my prayers. I hope you will as well. But I would like more answers, not just for us, but for the family. I mean, if by some chance there was foul play involved, they may not want to hear that, but at the same time, they need to know. And if it was me, I would want to know if I could, could they tell? Was it an accident, or did she do this on purpose, kind of thing? But that's just me. But I am struggling with the fact that if she had been in those reeds, that they weren't searched for that long. It seems like such an obvious place to look if you're looking for someone in the water and there's something potentially on the side of the water that could be hiding or holding a body. Why wouldn't you search there? And coming out and saying, oh, well, we didn't search the reeds, that doesn't do anything for me. I would probably punch the person that was telling me that. I would be like, how could you not? That would have been the first place I would have looked. But anyway, side note, if you've been here a while, you may know that a week ago, the doctor gave me 4 new prescriptions, and I am very happy to say that I feel fantastic. For the first time in a really long time, I feel like my old self. I am really feeling good, and I'm so happy to share that with you. It's nice to feel like this again. Thank you to all the new subscribers. Welcome. We're so happy to have you as part of the Steve Squad. We have dropped a lot of merch you may have seen in the community post. And yeah, I'm still hoping to hit 2,000 by my birthday on April 26th. So if you could like this, share this, send your friends over. And if you aren't already subscribed, please do so. It would be a great birthday present to me. It's completely free to subscribe. And if you want to be a Steve Squad member, you can join membership as well. But thank you guys so much for all of your support always, and for hanging in with me when I wasn't feeling my best and I didn't feel like myself. And now you get to see me doing great. So thank you for spending part of your day with me, and I hope you have a great week ahead. And as always, I will see you all in the next one.